My name is Deborah, and join first the headlines. Gender advocate hail death sentence for late Osinachi's husband. EFCC arrests wanted socialite Achimugu at Abuja airport. Hurricane Tinubu, more governors will join APC, Ganduje boasts. NNPCL under fire as $897 million Warri refinery revamp flops. Human rights attack accelerated by Trump's second term, says Amnesty. And now, the news in details. Gender advocates hail death sentence for late Osinachi's husband. Some gender advocates have welcomed the ruling of the Federal Capital Territory High Court in Wuse Zone 2, Abuja on Monday, sentencing Peter Nwachukwu, the husband of the late gospel singer Osinachi Nwachukwu, to death by hanging. The court delivered the sentence after finding Nwachukwu guilty of culpable homicide, which resulted in the death of the deceased Osinachi on April 8, 2022. The trial judge, Justice Jideka Nwosu Iheme, in a ruling held that the prosecution had successfully discharged the burden of proof required by law and subsequently found the defendant guilty. Nwachukwu was arraigned on June 3, 2022 by the Attorney General of the Federation on behalf of the federal government. He faced a 23-count charge that include culpable homicide punishable by death, criminal intimidation, cruelty to children, spousal battery, and other related offenses. During the trial, the prosecution called 17 witnesses, including 2 children of the late gospel singer, who testified as the 4th and 5th prosecution witness. The prosecution also presented 25 documents as exhibits before the court. For the defense, the defendant testified on his behalf and called 4 other witnesses while also tendering 4 exhibits. Before sentencing, Nwachukwu counsel Reginald Nwali, in his plea for mercy, urged the court to show leniency in its judgment. However, the prosecution counsel, Mrs. Aderonke Imala, urged the court to enforce the full weight of law. Justice Nwosu Iheme subsequently sentenced Nwachukwu to death by hanging on count 1. Additionally, he was sentenced to 2 years imprisonment, each count on 2, 3, 8, 9, 12, 13, and 18. And still on our local news for this morning, EFCC arrests wanted socialite Achimugu at Abuja airport. The Economic and Financial Crime Commission on Tuesday arrested businesswoman Aisha Achimugu at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja. Our correspondents gathered that Achimugu was arrested around 5 a.m. shortly after return from London. Achimugu has been declared wanted in March by the EFCC over allegation of criminal conspiracy and money laundering. On Monday, the Federal High Court in Abuja, presided over by Justice I.E. Ekwo, has ordered her to appear before the EFCC on Tuesday and also to appear before the court on Wednesday, April 30th, 2025. Her lawyer, Chief Chikao Osolu Ojukwu, confirmed the arrest in a message to our correspondent saying Aisha Achimugu, who arrived voluntarily into the country from London, was arrested by the EFCC around 5 a.m. on Tuesday. Ojukwu criticized the EFCC's action, describing it as a violation of a court order. And down to politics-related news for this morning. Hurricane Tinubu, more governors will join APC, Ganduje boasts. Vice President Kashim Shettima on Monday officially received Delta State Governor Sheriff Oborevwori, former Governor Ifeanyi Okowa, and other PDP defectors at the Cenotaph in Asaba, the Delta State capital, with National Chairman of the All Progressive Congress, Umar, stating that more governors will join the ruling party. The storm had been long speculated before the dramatic defection of the PDP former vice president candidate Okowa, Governor Oborevwori, and the entire PDP party structure in Delta, one of the former ruling party's strongholds. Delta Deputy Governor Monday Oyeme, state commissioners and local government chairmen, and the state's grassroots machinery all move en bloc to APC after a closed-door meeting in Asaba last week following Hurricane Tinubu, which has swept the PDP apart, with the opposition claiming the country was drifting towards one-party state. The PDP previously had sway in the South-South, but with Monday's official defection, the ruling party now has 3 governors in the region, Edo, Cross River, and Delta, while Akwa Ibom and Bayelsa are led by the opposition PDP governors. The suspension of Rivers Governor Siminalayi Fubara places faith in the balance. And down to business news for this morning. NNPCL under fire as $897 million Warri refinery revamps flops. Industry operators and experts have questioned the operational integrity of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, particularly regarding transparency, efficiency, and overall management of Nigeria's refinery under its purview. This is after the revelation that the Warri Refining and Petrochemical Company has remained shut since January 25, 2025. Due to safety issues in its crude distillation unit's main heater. An April 2025 document on the midstream and downstream sector obtained by the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authorities revealed that the refinery, which consumed $897.6 million in maintenance costs, failed to produce premium motor spirits, also known as petrol, and was shut down barely a month after former NNPC Group Chief Executive Officer Mele Kyari declared it operational. Industry operators and experts described this as disheartening, while further findings showed that the Port Harcourt Refining Company, which resumed operation in November 2024, have been operating below 40% capacity. And down to foreign news, which is our last for the morning. Human rights attacks accelerated by Trump's second term, says Amnesty. The global system of law and human rights is under threat from a multiplicity of assaults, which have accelerated since U.S. President Donald Trump returned to power, Amnesty International said Tuesday in its annual reports. Unprecedented forces are hunting down the ideal of human rights for all, seeking to destroy an international system forged in the blood and grief of World War II and its Holocaust, said the Human Rights Group Secretary General Agnes Callamard. The lives of millions of people have been devastated in 2024 as a result of conflict and abuse committed in the Middle East, Sudan, Ukraine, and Afghanistan, where women's freedom continue to be curtailed. The report singled out some of the world's biggest power, such as the US, Russia, and China, for undermining the achievement of international law as well as the fight against poverty and discrimination. While this reckless and punishing offensive have been on the way for several years, according to the amnesty, Trump had served as a super accelerator of those trends. And that will be all for Ayogen Morning News this morning. My name remains Deborah Anjorin. I wish you a lovely day ahead. Thank you so much for always listening and watching.
Hello, welcome to Ayogen Media House. We offer exciting services like event coverage, event live streaming, studio live streaming session, music studio recording, TV session, news broadcasting, podcast session, and many other exciting services. Here at Ayogen, we innovate, we inform, and we inspire.